Oh, it's true. 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 What is going on, my brothers and my sisters of Evolve Productions? My name is indeed Nate the Effing Great, your host here, recapping Monday Night Raw. And guys, I will be actually doing this a little bit more often. Starting next week, I will actually be doing a couple of live edition SCP broadcasts after Monday Night Raw commences. So definitely tune into that. But let's get right into Monday Night Raw. It was actually pretty watchable, in all honesty. It's really a surprise to say that because Raw can be very, very lackluster, to say the least. But just starting off, we kick off with Roman Reigns coming out, talking about the Universal title matchup, and basically saying, hey, I'm not going to be out here to make excuses. I lost my U.S. title last week in a handicap matchup. Chris Jericho is the new United States champion. But he also talks about the fact that at Royal Rumble, Jericho will be up in a shark cage, and it will be him and Kevin Owens one-on-one, and that there is nothing stopping him from becoming the Universal Champion. This would soon bring out Paul Heyman, who would basically talk about his client Brock Lesnar being in the arena, and talking about Goldberg not being in the arena. Soon that escalates more to bringing out Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, where basically they just talk about, hey, we're best friends and now we're dual champions, and at WrestleMania it's going to be all about the brotherhood, man. And then Rollins comes out and he basically warns everybody that anything can happen in the main event of WrestleMania. This slowly brings out Braun Strowman, who basically comes out, gets in Roman Reigns' face. We see Brock Lesnar's music hit. Lesnar's coming down to the ring. He reaches the ramp. Unfortunately, though, Sami Zayn comes out and he beats down on Braun Strowman. It's just a complete madhouse between everybody. All hell breaks loose. Brock Lesnar gets in the ring. He does a German suplex to Reigns. He gives a German suplex to Sami Zayn. And he has a nice stare down with Braun Strowman. That was actually a damn good thing to see. Braun Strowman has been wanting competition for so long, and he may get it in the form of Brock Lesnar. The stare down between the two of them was awesome, but then Strowman just says, you know what? Not tonight. So he gets down for the ring, and then Roman Reigns comes in and hits a Superman punch and clears off everybody else, takes out Jericho, takes out Owens, but unfortunately it turns into an F5 from Brock Lesnar. Lesnar making a statement, as Paul Heyman says, that it's all about one thing. It's all about eating, sleep. No, it's more than about one thing. It's all about eat, sleep, eliminate, repeat. Brock Lesnar is definitely going in with quite a bit of momentum going into this year's Royal Rumble. And this is exactly the kind of thing that we needed to see, because we need to have something that really gets everybody excited. You want to see how this could actually be a great Royal Rumble deal, seeing everybody getting thrown off the top ropes or basically just beating down on people. It's just awesome. And honestly, you guys, again, I really want to see Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania this year. Highly doubt that's going to happen, but it could very much happen. You never know. This definitely was a great way to kick off Raw. It didn't have that much in the way of talking. It didn't have that much in the way of Stephanie McMahon or Mick Foley. Thank God. We needed a break from them. It was one of those things where everybody showcased very well. They were all talking about stating their claim to Royal Rumble, talking about WrestleMania. Definitely is what they needed for Raw to really start off on a high note. We get into the first matchup, which was Enzo Amore and Big Cass taking on Jinder Mahal and Rusev. A very steady-paced matchup. We saw Enzo Amore and Big Cass hit the boom shakalaka, even though it should be the other tag team move. I'm not sure what the name of the move was, but we see Enzo and Cass pick up a victory, and I think that they are still going to continue a little bit of the storyline, but it's nice to see them actually wrestling for once instead of just talking and talking and talking. And that's really what this was all about tonight, was all about being active, showing action, definitely showing the actions speak louder than words. That is what Raw really needed to do to show a little bit of attitude, and they showed it really here tonight. We get into a first cruiserweight matchup. Ariya Daivari defeating Lince Dorado with Jack Gallagher and Austin Aries on commentary. Jack Gallagher, of course, being the comedic relief that he is, and then Ariya Daivari locking in a modified Cobra Clutch on Lince Dorado for the win. Obviously, they're continuing the Ariya Daivari and Jack Gallagher feud. Honestly, I like the feud. I'm just still not very high on Jack Gallagher. I don't know what it really is. Maybe it's just the way he wrestles. Maybe it's just the way that his attire looks. I just can't find it in my heart to really think like I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and really have full support. I just don't see it yet. But I like what they're doing with Ariya Daivari. They're really making him into a good heel, so that may come into play in the future. Let's hope so. We get into a title matchup in which we see the tag team titles defended. Sheamus and Cesaro, the Great White North, not Sheamus. Spencer, you suck. Taking on the club's Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. What a match this was. Both teams looked awesome. And what I really love about the Sheamus and Cesaro team is that Cesaro definitely seems like he's one of those guys who wants to win fairly. He wants to be like the respectable guy. He wants to be kind of like the babyface. And Sheamus, of course, wants to do like anything it takes to win, which is respectable, but at the same time can be a little bit out of hand. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson definitely looked really good in this tag team matchup. Cesaro, of course, looking like a machine that he is. The matchup came to a close when Sheamus was just elbowing just about everybody. He elbowed Carl, he elbowed Luke, he elbowed the referee by accident, but that also caused him to get thrown out. And then we see Gallows and Anderson hit a magic killer on Cesaro. A second referee comes in for the 1, 2, 3, and it seems like we are going to get new tag team champions, but the original referee says, no, Sheamus hit me in the head, so therefore they are disqualified. And everybody knows that when you're disqualified, that means you keep the titles. So Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson pick up the victory, but by disqualification, Sheamus and Cesaro are still the tag team champions. But after that happened, we saw Gallows and Anderson freak out, and they hit the magic killer on Sheamus before leaving the ring. Now, this obviously is going to escalate to a title rematch, I believe, at the Royal Rumble. I think it's a good way of doing it. The story is definitely there. It's definitely showing that these two teams are great. I think that they're definitely showing that they are better than the New Day and Club storyline that happened during the summertime. So that's really cool to see. I don't know if they're going to actually have the tag team titles get dropped to Gallows and Anderson. I wouldn't be against it because I think that Gallows and Anderson definitely deserve a little bit more than what they're getting. It just, it's just one of those things where it's kind of mixed emotions. Like, I like the pairing of Sheamus and Cesaro, but at the same time, Cesaro deserves to be on a, need to be singles competitors. I think they need more singles competitors right now, but they're tag team, so I guess it's not too bad. But I really would love to see the club win the titles at Royal Rumble. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But But I think that eventually, maybe before WrestleMania, they might actually pick up the titles, because then they would have the whole Big Cass and Enzo winning the titles at WrestleMania, which I think would be the best thing to do. And they need to fight off against a heel team. And I think the best heel team would be the Club, and maybe even have a little bit of a title exchange between the two of them. So we go on to Michael Cole doing a video package highlighting the career of the late Jimmy Superfly Snuka, who unfortunately passed away this past week. Very heartfelt thoughts and condolences to the family of Superfly Jimmy Snuka. He is definitely one of those guys who really captivated the world, and he definitely made wrestling great. Now, I know a lot of people have definitely been kind of hazy on Jimmy Snuka, especially with everything that went on. There was a recent murder trial that he went through. All charges were dropped, and just after they were dropped, he passed away. So it's kind of one of those things where you're sad, really, and I can understand kind of where people are kind of showing a lot more mixed emotions than anything. Honestly, I really do miss the Superfly Jimmy Snuka. He definitely will be missed in the wrestling community. Heartfelt thoughts and condolences to the family, like I said. And Superfly Jimmy Snuka, we love you, baby. We get into a backstage segment with Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, where they're basically talking about the game plan. Sami Zayn just tries to, get everybody hyped up. It's like, hey, this would be cool if we do like this entrance, where it's like foggy and mist and blah, blah, blah. And basically calling Roman Reigns like Mr. Clean, like he's going to clean up the ring and blah, blah, blah. It's just so funny to see. But Seth Rollins is just like, hey, we appreciate your, your enthusiasm, but we got this. We know. We know what's going on. And Sami Zayn's like, yeah, that's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. He puts his fist in the middle, trying to do like a shield thing, and then Roman Reigns just basically storms. I wouldn't say storms off. He just walks away saying, "This guy's crazier than Ambrose." And honestly, I just laughed at that line. I thought that was funny. Seth Rollins walks away with that kind of awkward look of like, well, that just happened. And then Sami Zayn just goes back to just getting ready for the matchup. We have a no contest matchup here, which is nice to see them not doing the same thing over and over again. Rich Swann versus Tony Nese never happened because Neville jumped Swann before the matchup. Tony Nese and Neville basically were beating down on Rich Swann before Swann hit a super kick to the face of Rich Swann before leaving, and then Neville cuts a promo on Rich Swann backstage saying that he's going to break Swann's unbreakable spirit. I am loving this heel Neville. It's definitely a lot different than what you would expect. It's definitely something that is refreshing. It's very cool to see. It's very awesome just to see how, he's come along. He's definitely a upper mid-carder, and he definitely deserves a lot more credit than they're giving him. The New Day, they come out to the ring to discuss the 30-man Royal Rumble matchup, and they're interrupted by Titus O'Neil, who says he wants to take their spot in the Royal Rumble, leading to Titus O'Neil versus Big E. And if Titus O'Neil wins, he would go on to the Royal Rumble. A couple of spots here were actually pretty good. Actually, honestly, the matchup between Big E and Titus O'Neil was actually pretty damn good. It was one of those things where I know a lot of people don't like big man matches where they barely move or they don't do flips or they don't do stuff, but Titus O'Neil and Big E, they actually clicked very well in the ring. Saw quite a bit, including a Dominator by Titus O'Neil, which I thought was just amazing. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what is he going to do? He has him up on his shoulders. I'm thinking maybe it's going to be a neck breaker, maybe it's going to be a back breaker. Boom. Dominator on Big E. I'm like, holy cow, that's a tribute to Ron Simmons if I had ever seen one. Titus O'Neil mocks Big E throughout the matchup. Big E really taunts Titus O'Neil, but in the end, we see Big E hit a running splash and then the big ending for the win. So it looks like the New Day are still in the Royal Rumble matchup. So we got 3 more participants on the Raw side taken into the Royal Rumble. So this will be very interesting to see we may see a little bit of dissension in the ranks with the New Day during the Royal Rumble. I think it'd be very interesting. There's also been some rumors that the New Day might actually go to being heels, which would be a nice